In this lesson, we will discuss the controls and displays. There are two keyboard and cursor control units on the pedestal, one for the captain and one for the first officer. The flight crew uses the keyboard and cursor control units to display the flight management system pages on the MFD, enter and modify data on the MFD flight management system pages, and perform some flight plan revisions on the ND. In addition to interfacing with the MFD flight management system pages, the two identical keyboard and cursor control units interface with the NDs, the Onboard Information System, OIS, and the mailbox. Keyboard and cursor control unit controls for the flight management system are a keyboard which enables the flight crew to enter alphanumeric information, a cursor control device, CCD, which enables the flight crew to control the associated cursor, the flight management system shortcut keys, the clear information key, the ND and MFD keys, and the navigation keys. The keyboard and the cursor control device are independent of each other, and the failure of one does not affect the other. The flight crew can use the keyboard and cursor control unit to interact with the objects on different display units. In order to select flight management system pages on the MFD, the captain or first officer presses the MFD key on the keyboard and cursor control unit. From there, the flight crew can navigate through all the flight management system pages using the keyboard and cursor control unit. When the cursor is moved over an interactive element of the display unit, such as the aircraft status on the Flight Management System Active Initialization page, a light blue box appears around this element. When pressed, the following Flight Management System shortcut keys on the keyboard and cursor control unit allow the flight crew to have quick access to frequented Flight Management System pages and moves the cursor back to the MFD if the cursor was previously on another display. The Direct key displays the Flight Management System Direct To page on the MFD. The Performance key displays the Flight Management System Active Performance page. The A350 incorporates an Airport Navigation Function, ANF, that helps the crew navigate the airport environment while on the ground. The aircraft has two independent ANFs, one for the captain's side, one for the first officer side. Each ND displays the airport moving map when the range selector of the EFIS control panel is set to the zoom position. The flight crew uses the KCCU to activate the interactive functions of the ND. In normal operation, the ANF on the captain's side uses data from ADIRU 1 and Flight Management System 1, and the ANF on the first officer side uses data from the ADIRU 2 and Flight Management System 2. The aircraft has two ANF databases. An ANF database is loaded in both captain and first officer outer display units, which computes the ANF that appears on the applicable ND. The captain, first officer, outer display unit cannot display the ANF. The validity period and the part number of each ANF database are displayed on the status panel of the ANF on the ND. Each ANF uses the onside ADIRU data in order to display the aircraft position on the ANF airport moving map. The moving airport map can be displayed on the ND when the position of the ND mode selector is plan, arc, or rose nav. In the zoom position, the airport moving map is displayed on the ND with a 5 nautical mile range or below. At landing, the ND automatically displays the ANF in arc mode with a 2 nautical mile range. The ANF provides the flight crew with a multitude of advisories, including a runway approaching advisory. During taxi, the runway approaching advisory warns the flight crew that the aircraft is near a runway or a runway intersection. The runway approaching advisory is only active on ground when the ground speed is below 40 knots for more than 10 seconds. The ANF uses the aircraft position, ground speed, and its database to trigger a warning at least 7 seconds prior to the aircraft entering a runway area. The ANF displays the indications of the runway approaching advisory on both the navigation display and primary flight display. In ARC and ROSE-NAV modes, when the aircraft approaches one or two runways, the ANF advises the crew. The runway that the aircraft approaches turns yellow and pulses, and a runway ident box that indicates which runways. If the runway is in the flight plan, it will be indicted with a green triangle and green font in the ident box. The various versions of the runway ident box are shown here. If the ND is not in zoom mode or is in plan mode when the aircraft approaches a runway, the runway ahead change mode message is displayed to alert the crew to change of the ND mode to ARC or ROSE-NAV in order to display the runway approaching advisory. The ANF no longer displays the runway approaching advisory when the aircraft stops, the aircraft is in the runway area for more than 2 seconds, the advisory is triggered for more than 30 seconds, or the ANF no longer expects that the aircraft will enter the runway area within the next 7 seconds.